let's talk about what the current format is, right? And then let's talk about what the format could be for the college football playoff, which has got nothing to do with the money and everything to do with who gets in, why, and how. Now, I say nothing to do with the money. It has something to do with the money, but we'll get to that, right? So is the correct number 12 teams, 14 teams, or 16 teams? I have been a proponent of 16 teams for a very long time. I think 16 teams at the time would include your G5 programs because that would mean automatic qualifiers for all the conference champs. Everybody who gets in should be in, right? They won their championship. However, that's going to add more games to the schedule. I'm not sure that's what a lot of people want to do. So the 16-team one only feels like it can work if we get rid of conference championship games. Now, are there those of us that like a conference championship game? Absolutely. Who doesn't like more football, especially championship weekends and championship football? That said, conference championships are a really recent occurrence, and they were created to make money from TV. Okay? You don't actually need them if you have a real playoff system. Okay? We don't need to find out who the Big Ten champ is because the 1 and the 2 seed probably make the college football playoff every single year. So you would not have to see Ohio State beat up on USC or Ohio State beat up on Michigan, for lack of a better term, right? You would be able to see that in a playoff setting. And that home atmosphere would also come back into play because we wouldn't be playing the Big Ten championship at Lucas Oil. We'd be playing a first round or second round game at Ohio State, right? Or at the Big House where you can get 110,000 people into there, right? Also, let's not play coy about that. They set a record in the Premier League last week when we had 60,000 people show up for Man City versus Liverpool with, 2 of the 3 best teams in the league. 60,000. They do 110 at the Big House every single home game. Let's not be coy about that. You want to get as many people in as you possibly can get in, and an extended playoff lets you do that. Now, 12 team I think is pretty explanatory at this time. It was 5 plus 7. Now it could be as much as we could get to 4 plus 8, right? But I don't think we're going to see that. I think they're going to stick to what they know, right? Which is that the Big 12 and the ACC conference champs should probably get in this current format, and we'll go from there. Now we get to 14, which is an interesting number only because Tony Petitti floated out there, and now we got to take it seriously, right? So there are 2 dominant models that we could use in a 14-team playoff. Both favor the SEC and the Big Ten, okay? Which, Tony Petitti represents the Big Ten. But does that discount its merit? No, not at all. So in one of these models, you basically have 11 plus 3, right? You'd have 11 automatic qualifiers and 3 at-large bids. So you'd have a 3 and 3 for the SEC and the Big Ten. You'd have a 2 and 2, right, for the ACC and the Big 12. And then you have a 1 plus 3, right, which would be your highest ranking G5 team. And then 3 at-large bids, one of which we think would probably go to Notre Dame. So really just 2, right? The other one that I think is also interesting is a 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 7 or 7 plus 7, right? So you get 2 teams each from the SEC and the Big 10, 1 team each from the ACC and the Big 12, and your highest ranked group of 5, and then 7 at-large bids. I don't think that the SEC or the Big 10, or for that matter, the Big 12 or the ACC, want to leave 7 open spots, right? 6, let's say Notre Dame, right? Let's just pencil in Notre Dame for the time being. 6 open spots. I don't think they want to do that. I think they would look and say, wait a second. So on the off chance that Fresno State is undefeated and wins the Mountain West, we got to give up a spot to Fresno State when USC might be the 3rd best team in the Big 10? When Texas might be the 3rd best team in the SEC? When Oklahoma might be the 4th best team in the SEC? When Penn State might be the 4th best team in the Big 10? I wouldn't want to see that either because you, like I, want to see USC and Penn State in that spot and not Fresno State. That's just what the country wants. That's how we are leaning. That's how the sport is made. Fresno State wants to be considered. Fresno State got to do a whole lot more winning. Okay? It comes down to Michigan winning his program in college football, who might be the 4th best team in the Big 10. And Fresno State, Michigan's going to win. Or at least they should. Or we're all going to show up to whomever is running the sport and go, yo, dog, what? Not unlike Florida State fans when they found out that Alabama got the 4th spot and not them. There's also the idea of the 5 plus 9, which would be your 4 Power 5 or Power 4 champs, 4. Keep saying Power 5, 4 Power 4 champs, and your highest ranked G5 program. And then again, I would add Notre Dame in there, but so you basically got eight at-large bids and not 9. I don't like it. I just don't like it, right? I don't like it because we're still emphasizing conference championships at a time when we don't really need them. The Big Ten just did away with divisions, which they should have done a long time ago, and now we're threatening to scuttle that with this 3+3 or 2+2 way of picking a 14-team playoff. Now, 14 is also just a weird number. When we're thinking about tournaments, especially as we play them in the United States, we are thinking about 4 because we have to, right? Semifinals, as well as conference championships, right? AFC versus NFC. But we're also used to 16, right? We're used to being seeded that way. We even got brackets in the NCAA tournament for each region that go to 16. 16 is a good number. Is 16 too large a number? That's what people are asking. I don't think so. I think that you move the calendar up. You also do some negotiation with the NFL on the side to make sure that you keep your Friday games or your Saturday games, and those two things don't overlap because nobody wants to fight with the NFL. If you're in college football, you very much like to work in concert. But as the NFL continues to eat up part of the calendar, it's becoming more difficult for college football to find its way in. Like as it is now, I don't mind telling y'all, the biggest regular season week on the calendar for us is Labor Day. Labor Day. You know what gets figured out on Labor Day? Or on that weekend? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. Because we're still trying to find out who's good, right? That used to be a thing that we could push all the way to Thanksgiving week when we have our rivalry games where we probably have ranked teams playing for something, try to figure some things out. The NFL's got a big Thanksgiving Day schedule now. They got a big Christmas Day schedule. They schedule games around the college football national championship. It's becoming more difficult as they play games on Thursdays. They want to play games on Fridays, Saturday, and Sunday, right? And again, it's the NFL. Who's going to argue? None of us. But if we are going to do this thing where we're going to add more teams and we're going to extend the schedule, maybe we can also look at what the FCS does, because they seem to have figured out how to get 24 teams into their playoff and mostly get everything played before Christmas. Now, do you want to do that? Maybe not. Is that going to really mess with the Rose Bowl schedule? Yeah, it will. Will that mess with our New Year's 6-day bowls? Absolutely. Our New Year's 6 would get blown up in smoke. But is it good for the health of the sport? Absolutely. That's the thing, right? Like there was a time, believe it or not, when people hated the idea of playing games at night. Hated the idea of playing games under lights. That was as soon as the 1960s. By the 1980s, we got the most seminal high school football book of all time called Friday Night Lights. Friday Night Lights. Everybody wants to play under the lights now. Hell, at Oklahoma, people used to get mad about an 11 a.m. kickoff because they didn't get to play at night. Now, take that and push it forward. Don't be afraid of something you don't know. Lean into the mystery. Lean into the chaos. And I don't mind telling y'all either. I love this stuff. I really, really do. And I love it when we don't know what the answer is going to be, because that means that, hey, I'm on the balls of my toes and I'm on the good foot ready to go. I got the same advantages as everybody else. And you know what? In a fair fight, I like me. In a fair fight, you should like you. I say, come on with the come on and make it happen. You know who ain't moaning, complaining about the current state of college football? Ohio State, who's saying we got to get right and we got to get right now. Okay? That is what it's going to take. Stop this belly aching about what the sport was. Stop this belly aching about 50 years of college football coaching if you're Nick Saban. Get on the train. And that, you know what? That's what Nick Saban did better than anybody else. That man stared signing day fiascos in the face. That man got the headset rule. That man adapted the transfer portal. That man understood anything necessary, whatever it takes, to win football games. I don't think that Nick Saban, who was talking today, is talking like Nick Saban in his 50s. I just don't think that's the case. I think that age does it to us all. I think after one point or another, we just get tired and we don't want to deal and we just want to moan and complain. But you got people in your life that don't know how to work a computer. You got people in your life that don't tweet. You got people in your life that don't use TikTok. Us young folks, we don't have that benefit. We got to work it. We got to make it happen. I don't get to say, hey, I came up in a time when, you you just worked your butt off and then you got to TV or you got to your columnist gig. No, today you got to fight for every single yard. Every single yard, every single viewer, every single athlete, every single connection, every single relationship. And if you ain't got it no more, get out of my way. Get out of our way. I got young guys like Kenny Dillingham and Sharon Moore who want it. I got young guys like Dan Lanning who want it, and I want it with them. I want it with them. Yeah, all right. You say it's hard. We're going to lean in, and we're going to take it. That's how it's going to be.
If you like what you've seen, consider subscribing to the #1 college football show on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcast.